There's one message I want to share with everybody is that needs to be changed. Something must be done differently. It's impossible, from my point of view, to accept the fact that a state, any state, should accept the fact that 4,500 missiles are being launched from a neighboring entity, threatening its civilians. And once we try to fight back and protect its people, we're being condemned. And then we're being dragged into a whole round of conflict, and then there's violence, and then there's bloodshed on both sides. But one has to stop and think, what's got us there to begin with? Why are we in a conflict? And the idea is that Hamas is being targeting Israeli civilians. It's been targeting where I live, it's targeting north of Israel. As you said, 4,500 missiles. That needs to be stopped. Preferably in a peaceful way. But if not, one needs to know that there is consequences to what you've done. I think as I often said, every round of escalation, every conflict, every operation in the end, tends to become more violent and much faster and more enhanced than the one before it. We've seen it throughout the escalation. So everything tends to ignite much faster and much like we're not experiencing a lot of growth. There is a conflict and all hell let loose. And in this conflict, if we just compare the numbers in 12 days, my community alone, community of 1,000 people, got targeted 200 times in 12 days. To compare, in the previous round, in 52 days, we got double that number. So the amount of fire was so intense. And on the other hand, Israel itself also attacked with, I would say, enormous power that I was not used to see. Now I'm standing on the border, I hear both the attacks on Israel and the attacks Israel is conducting on the Gazans. So basically I was living in a war zone. And the amount of fire and explosions I've heard in the last round, the last 12 days, was beyond what I was ever used to hear. And I think what kept me this time speechless, as you said, is the fact that, again, people ignored the beginning and ignored what brought us there and focused on what Israel is doing and why Israel is attacking. And we forgot that Israel is attacking because almost 5,000 missiles were launched into Israel. It's a state. We have the right to protect ourselves. And if the enemy is shooting from within civilian areas, it's a problem for us. But we have to balance between protecting our own people and not hurting the others. And that's a balance that is very hard to be done. Because in a war, people are being hit. Okay? It's a balance. And that's why I'm saying war is bad for everybody on both sides. I'm not wishing war, but we have to understand what brought us to this war to begin with. And the amount of anti-Israel media this time also blew my mind. It was a wall-to-wall condemning of Israel. Why are we attacking? And there was a wall-to-wall ignoring of what happened beginning. And that, I think, what's kept me speechless. I said, okay, I'm Don Quixote now fighting wind. So good to see you guys, I'm telling you. It's so good to see you.